then if you would like a brownie in a cup, that would be the mocha.
The mocha, yeah.
Which is what I shoot for most of the times.
Grown up milkshake.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's the Java chip Frappuccino.
Is that
Not to highlight Starbucks coffee, but you can tell where I go for my coffee.
Yeah, right.
Okay, well that was annoying.
Indeed.
Let me switch that to headphones. That's why.
It's funny that Discord says streaming mode gamer tags are truncated, but the only one that's truncated is yours.
Everybody else's is not truncated on my end.
Yeah, same. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's just funny to me that yours is the only one. That's all.
Okay. Well, they're gone now. Good. That's what I wanted. Should we podcast?
If you feel like
we must.
I feel like we should. But then I say that and, I'm not even ready.
Oh, well, shit.
Go figure.
Yeah, well.
Put some stuff on mute.
There you go. Yeah.
I hope that Mark is successful in unbending all of those.
Right.
What do you call them?
Not to
Pins.
be an asshole, but I kind of hope he can't. And I hope it turns into this gigantic saga. It already is. So
well, I was gonna say it already is, because he just can't seem to stop tinkering with it for some reason. So
it'll be funny if it becomes a saga, as long as he doesn't get too stressed about it.
Yes, true. I don't want him to stress out over it, but it is rather funny.
Or spend any more money, because Jenny might kill him. So
also true, which kind of makes it funny. Just saying.
Well, yeah, because she seems to think he bought the cheapest Steam Deck, and he didn't. So.
I've been looking at
we have the
other
wrong fun
handhelds.
fact now. I'm just saying.
Oh, I didn't update the fun fact.
I know.
My
I
fault.
can see that. I have erased that fun fact just so it doesn't confuse me, because I'm easily confused. Here we go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all are listening to the Overseas Connection podcast.
Shut up and sit down.
Here we go!
Would you kindly?
I think we're just getting started.
Medic! I'm a witcher.
I think this is more than you can handle.
He sits on his ass all day.
Let's do this.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to episode 837 of the Overseas Connection podcast. Today is May 25th, 2025, also known as Tap Dance and Towel Day, a tribute to Douglas Adams. There we go. Fun fact for the day. I am one of your subtle or not so subtle hosts, Greg DeLacy, Gamertag Murphy's Law.
Nothing subtle.
No, nothing subtle about me. OC_Murphy's Law on Twitter. And joining the Americano show, we have Miss Kim Woods.
Howdy. Yeah, I'm not subtle either. So, there you go. But I'm happy
Kim,
to be here. And
do you take your Americano black or do you take it with cream?
I take it black.
Okay. And also on the show, Mr. Christopher Matthew, also known as Chris
Mr.
Matthew,
DeLacy.
Colonel Matthew. What anything else we can throw in there?
OC_Matthew on Xbox Live and Twitter. They still call me Moose on Steam and Discord.
Okay.
And off for the summer around my house.
Okay. So we no longer call you Professor Matthew.
Well, no one calls me that because I have not earned that title. However, no classes until August.
Okay.
Yeah, no classes until August.
Excellent. And how do you take your Americano? Cream, sugar, anything?
Only coffee. Only coffee goes in coffee. The only thing I want in my coffee is more coffee.
I feel like this is lies.
So it's just,
I know you both are black drinkers, but I am. Give me the sweetness. Give me the just add the calories into it. So and it takes place of my protein shake in the morning. I'm just I'll take my calories in my coffee.
I don't think that's how that works. Works. Now,
It's
a
probably not.
hack for you, Greg. A hack for you.
Uh-oh. All right.
Since I know you like the Starbucks.
Yes.
Right? You mentioned you like the Starbucks. So
I've
when you
been
go
known
in
to.
the Starbucks,
Okay.
ask them for a venti. That's the really big one.
Right.
Cup of ice, which
Okay.
they won't charge you for if you're nice about it.
All right.
A double shot of espresso, a doppio if you must,
Okay.
and then get one of their little vanilla protein shakes in a bottle that they have behind the counter.
Oh.
All
right.
They will pour the double shot over ice, and then you add the protein shake, and it's got a nice ice latte kind of flavor, but it's not loaded with sugar and garbage. It's got your protein in there for those biceps that you're showing off.
I like it. All right. I will
Here for you.
definitely take that hack into account. What are we doing? What are we doing, kids? We are doing a video game podcast. This is our weekly show. Every week we tune in on Twitch, we tune in on YouTube, we do it live, and we're just talking video games. We're talking about life, all kinds of stuff, and it's just it's a casual, fun time. We do it every Sunday, 8 p.m. in the UK. And you ask why in the UK? Because there's no UK people on the show. But that's okay. They come in occasionally. Every once in a while, we have somebody on the show. This week, sadly, not so much. But we'll get into that in a moment. Also, 12 p.m. on the West Coast. That's really the only coast in the U.S. you need to worry about, unless you happen to be other hosts on this podcast, in which case 3 p.m. East Coast, 2 p.m. Central Missouri, Kalamazoo, Canada time.
I don't live on a coast, so I don't really care.
Yeah, no, you don't, actually. You do not live in a coast. You live
No,
smack dab in the middle of godforsaken
I'm
land.
landlocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
All surrounding Kim's house is nothing but cornfields, just cornfields.
Pretty much.
Don't you have a giant river nearby, I think? Yeah?
Well, not near, no.
Oh,
but
okay.
the
A river of
Mississippi,
corn.
I mean, I don't really
That's
have an
where
ocean
we're
nearby
going.
either for that fact. So, I mean,
See,
it
there
will
you
take
go.
me a considerable drive to get to the ocean.
Yeah.
In fact, I can get to a lake, as in Lake Tahoe, faster than I can get to the ocetion. That should
Yeah,
give
I
you
can
some
get to a
perspective.
lake, but yeah. No rivers.
All
Maybe,
right.
does that count?
Now that we got that out of the way,
Small puddles.
I suppose we could talk real fast. Lisa Olson, Mrs. Filthy, is celebrating a birthday on the 27th of May. Happy birthday, Lisa. She is absolutely a youngin' at, I'm going to say 22, just over 21. Phil probably could have gone to jail many, many years ago for, underage relationship, but, they're past that now. She's old enough. It's okay. Happy birthday, Lisa. And with that, let's get into...
Everyone here loves story time, our favorite time of the day.
It's just flowing super easy today. That's the theme of the show. Easy does it. Unless your name is Mark Wright. Now, Mark is not on the show because of a very specific reason. He is part of the PC non-master race. Mark, in fact, you know what? I'm going to do us all just a bit of a service here. I'm prepared, as you can tell. So we received a message from Mark yesterday. So I wasn't going to say anything, but my hand has been forced. Wah, wah, wah. I'm not going to be available tomorrow. I learned a valuable lesson in not messing with something when it ain't broke. Being me, I thought I'd buy a better AOI cooler and a new snug fit clamp for the CPU. It sounds so delightful. Snug fit clamp. Got it all built up and nothing. PC was dead. Recheck it all, still dead. So took the CPU out and found this. And then Mark has nicely incorporated an image for us to see within our show notes. And honestly, I couldn't tell what it was, but he had 3 little red circles on there, which indicated something bad. Okay, fair play. I'd bent the effing pins, and I'm going to say effing for the sake of all the kids listening, because there's so many kids listening. So I've had to stump for a new motherboard, and I went with a different brand because I hate Asus. I hate Asus software on my current one. I went with MSI. Silly me thought mine was an ATX case. Nope. It's an MATX case. Fucking thing doesn't fit. So the new case is coming tomorrow. This has turned into a very expensive fucking CPU. Sorry, I did say fucking. I'll just say it again for the sake of saying fucking. CPU upgrade. I'm very pissed off with myself. And yes, I'm an idiot. I think we can all agree at this point. We concur, Mark. You are an idiot. We love you, but I'm going to try recover the pins at some stage and try to save the board and use it for the second PC. God knows I have enough fucking spare parts. Last time I touched the bloody thing in the 5 to 10 years when it's become obsolete, it's a new pre-built PC for me. Too old for this shit now. It's a painful lesson in PC Master Race not being Master Race, because I just go to my Xbox and I turn it on and I love it.
Yeah, but then you don't have all those lovely shaders and all the lovely
You know what I don't miss?
3D effects.
I don't miss this comment that I heard from you, by the way. I'm waiting for the shaders to load.
Yeah, it seems I get new shaders for Call of Duty every couple of weeks.
I do believe that is the case.
So it there's something to the simplicity of a console. I will grant you that, but it's so satisfying to be able to put your PC together. It's like grown-up Lego, really expensive grown-up Lego.
Yes.
And mods. You can modify the games, add higher resolution textures, add new quests, add all kinds of fun stuff.
The mods are definitely a cool element to PC gaming. However, I will say console gaming has started to incorporate mods now more frequently.
Yes.
And I mean, if the rumors be true, this whole integration of Steam and Epic Games with next generation of console, it could be even closer to being PC life. So there's a very stern frown on your face, Mr. Matthew. I'm not sure what's going on.
Oh, so sorry. You totally derailed me with your pronunciation of Asus. And I'm trying to learn.
Asus,
I'm trying to learn.
Asus.
Well,
It is Asus.
I've always pronounced it Asus because
Me
it's
too.
the last four letters of the word Pegasus. But I'm now learning in my internet web search that apparently the correct pronunciation is Asus.
Yeah.
He didn't say "Hey
Oh,
Zeus."
goddamn.
He said "Hey Zeus." Die Hard 3, by the way. So yeah, you totally derailed me there. But
Okay.
I'm back on the rails. I'm back. I'm
right.
not giving up. PCMR forever.
Well,
Mouse and keyboard,
you've
customization.
You've
you
made
know,
that flip.
Got to go. Just got to go in. I still play my Xbox pretty regularly. Sometimes it's fun to, particularly Game Pass games. It's fun to compare the versions and see any differences. Like Cyberpunk 2077 plays pretty well on a controller. It looks much crisper on a good PC, but it plays pretty well on a controller. So I've been enjoying both versions. But yeah,
Okay.
stick with it, Mark. Don't give up. Don't give up. Stick with it. And I'm glad you didn't share that picture, Greg. That's a sunk cost fallacy if we were going to go to Econ 101. But let's save that lesson for another day.
Yes.
I'm glad you didn't share that picture, though, Greg. Yeah, it was not safe for work. That was some carnage on Mark's motherboard there.
I still am just trying to. I mean, he must have just like jammed it on, and just been like, "Fuck it, I will make it fit."
Right.
If he didn't have it lined up right, the AMD processors particularly are prone to bending the pins if you're not installing the processor carefully.
Don't you just push till you hear it snap?
Yeah, that's what you do. And if you don't hear it, get out a hammer. Yeah, just make it fit.
Make it fit. All right, Kim, what's been going on with you?
Oh, not a whole lot. I did get a new cookbook this week, so we'll share that. Yep.
I
got
love that guy.
Yes, right? It's
Okay.
Baking Across America, a vintage recipe road trip by B. Dylan Hollis. I found him on TikTok, like, I don't know. It was after the pandemic, I guess, but he's hilarious as hell, and he makes some of the most off the wall, weirdest things that are in your grandmother's recipe box that you've probably never heard of. And it's just hilarious. So I bought his first one, and of course I bought that one, and I'll enjoy it. And believe it or not, I'll actually sit and read the thing, and I'll probably pick out recipes to try to make. So yeah, I got that this week.
We have a lot of
I
cookbooks
don't know.
in our house, and honestly, a lot of cookbooks not getting used.
Yeah, I had the
Like
same
there's
thing.
like the one go-to, which is Bon Appetit. That is like the Bible cookbook, right? And then
Right.
there's a lot of other like barbecue recipe books. I even have like a bar book, but I go to my go-tos that I know how to make. And when it
Right.
comes to drinks, it's for the most part, if I'm making anything beyond, vodka tonic, it's going to be a margarita or vodka Red Bull. I don't
Right.
need a bar book for that.
Right, exactly. Or Google. I do a lot of like
Yeah.
Googling things, If I decide I want to make something different that maybe we haven't had in a while, then, pull out the phone, Google it,
It's funny you
Otherwise-
say that because now that I think about it, every time she'll be like, let's make something different. And what do? Instead of going to all of these resource cookbooks we have, I'm like on my phone, find me a recipe that uses this.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
It's easier that way, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, I got that. If you're interested, like I said, he's got a TikTok. He's on Facebook. I don't know, like I said.
I
watch
have
it.
a
It's
question, Kim.
hilarious. So, okay,
Have you previewed the book now? Have you kind of gone through and
a little bit, yeah.
what's the first thing you're making?
I don't know. It's a lot of like dessert stuff, and you know how I am about baking things. So there's
You
a
do like your
lot.
desserts.
I do. So I don't know. I'll have to look more because I did kind of skim it, so I don't really know. But I did notice, weirdly, there is a hush puppy recipe in here, which I thought was weird
Oh.
considering they're mostly desserts. But yeah, I like hush puppies though, so I'm good with that. Huckleberry ice cream. That sounds like it might be a good one. So yeah, I don't know. We'll find out. We'll keep you posted.
All
I'll
right.
make some.
You'll post
So,
pictures,
yeah,
I'm sure. Every time you post
Oh, hell
pictures
yeah.
of the food you make, by the way, it makes me very hungry.
Well, good. That means I'm doing a good thing.
No, it pisses me off because you can't send me anything. We've covered this before. So it's not like I can be like, hey,
Well,
Kim,
I
send me
suppose
one
I
of
could
those
send you some
Cinnabons.
Cookies. I could send you some cookies or something. I've sent Boomer cookies before.
Yeah,
beef
but
jerky.
it's not
Well,
it's
beef
not the good
jerky, but
stuff.
deer jerky.
Cookies are
Right,
like the
yeah.
low hanging fruit. It's like but you post up
Right.
like the amazing Cinnabon, and that
Right.
honestly is evil because I want it and I don't have it, and you're not going to send it to me. So,
Sorry. I guess you could learn to make cinnamon rolls. I mean, that's how I got started. So,
well, that
I wanted cinnamon rolls. and
that's a
didn't
very
know how to make
obvious
them.
answer that I don't care for. Mr. Matthew, do you get enticed by food when you see it online?
I do. I also enjoy baking myself. So I have Mr. B. Dylan Hollis's first cookbook, Baking Yesteryear, and I've made a few of the cookies out of that book. They're pretty good.
Okay.
I do appreciate on his channel, he will be honest if he makes something that is just awful.
Right.
And so that I know I don't have to try that.
Okay.
Right.
So that's good. But yeah, I do. I'll see something online. We have, just like the both of you, we have several shelves of cookbooks, and there's a few of them that we reference pretty regularly. But for the most part, it's especially my baking recipes. I just go to King Arthur Baking. They're the flour company,
Okay.
and they have all kinds of recipes on their website. So like, hey, we want you to buy our product, and here is some great things to do with it. So
Right.
I do a lot on there.
Have you ever seen on YouTube? There's a guy who's called Sam the Cook. I'll need to double check his
Not
name.
ringing a bell.
Yeah. So he does, it's basically like outdoor barbecuing on this like gigantic griddle, which makes me jealous because I mean it's the size of like a kitchen table. And so he just does all kinds of crazy things on it. But I'm pretty sure they're high half the time. So they create like the most obnoxiously horrible for you, but taste awesome food.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's also
All right.
where I got the idea for bacon wrapped meatloaf.
Yeah, bacon wrapped meatloaf.
Yeah.
If you want to kick that one up, instead of meatloaf, just get a pound of loose sausage, and wrap that in bacon. And then if you want to really kick it up, take that pound of loose sausage and stuff it with cream cheese and jalapeno peppers, and then wrap that in bacon.
All right.
That's pretty delicious.
Now we're talking. And again, I'm hungry again. Thank you.
Now we're getting hungry again. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Right?
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right. Okay. So we got the cookbook out of the way. Kim, thank you for that. Mr. Matthew, summer is upon you. Any plans?
Yeah, a lot of plans. So got a couple of weeks to sort of put a bow on the semester. A few administrative things, making sure that all of our course assessments and everything are all set up. So whatever we're going to change over the summer, we have time to change. And then about 3-ish weeks from now, we're going to fly down to Florida. We're going to hop on a cruise for about a week.
Oh, very
and then
cool.
we're going to spend a few days with Mickey Mouse, because we like to hang with Mickey Mouse. I think we talked about this last week.
You did mention the trip. I didn't hear about the cruise part of this. Where about are you going with the cruise? Is it just like
We're
a destination cruise or go out and come back kind of cruise?
It is a destination cruise. So I think we have stops in the Bahamas. It's a shorter one. It's 5 days. So I think we stop in Nassau, and then we go to Disney's little Lookout Point beach that they have. And I think that's it. I think
Is this a Disney cruise?
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you're going to be with Mickey for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, I like Mickey. He's my friend.
No love for Minnie? He's kicking Minnie to the curb?
I mean, all of them.
Okay.
No, all of them. But Mickey's the boss, Mickey's the boss.
Fair play. Pluto or Goofy? Where do you
yeah.
stand?
I mean, Pluto's the dog, the dog that acts like a dog. So I'm going to go with Pluto.
Okay.
Although Goofy's got his place. I really miss some of the old Goofy cartoons. Like if you go back into where they would have the real deep voice announcer explaining like fishing while Goofy is just terribly messing up fishing. I love those.
Those are classic.
Also, big fan of the Goof.
All right. Kim, are you? Well, I know you know Looney Tunes.
All right.
Have you seen the newest Looney Tunes? The newer, I should say.
I've seen the ones that have been out for like the last, 5 or so years that were used to be on like Cartoon Network or whatever. But I haven't seen a lot of the newer ones yet because they're just not. They're not the same,
Yes, this is where. So this is what Mr. Matthew. Yeah, Chris, you reminded me of this because I literally was just watching Looney Tunes before coming in here, and because I was all excited. I'm like, I saw Looney Tunes, and I was like, oh yeah, we'll put Looney Tunes on, and I'm like, calling get a piece of my growing up, and then I'm like, this is not the Looney Tunes. Totally. It lacks the edge. That's I think what It just it's a travesty.
Yeah, I tried to watch one, and it was like I want to say it was Daffy and Sam were like sharing an apartment and trying to discuss with each other how to be considerate roommates. And I was like, this is not Looney Tunes. Like they should be slapping each other with 2x4s and setting each other on fire. What's going on?
Right. What is this?
So yeah.
Okay. All right.
No.
And so yesterday was graduation.
Okay.
I
actually was going to ask you a question about this. Because last time we spoke, you indicated you had to get through all of the grading because and you had to get them submitted because there were going to be a fair number of students that were not going to be graduating.
There's always a handful.
So my question to you, what was the final tally?
Of those who didn't graduate?
Well, out of the total class number, and then what's the number of that did not make it?
You know what? That's going to require a quick Google.
Okay.
But so 1,002 graduated yesterday. 4 years ago, they started with 1,225. So over the last 4 years, 223 of them, for whatever reason, some of them voluntarily, some of them involuntarily, left the academy. So that's what they kind of lost over the last 4 years. I'm not evading the question. The
that's
answer
fair.
is none of my cadets, all of my cadets graduated, I guess is what I'm saying. All the cadets that I was teaching and all the cadets within my department that were supposed to graduate went ahead and graduated. So I don't know of any who kind of got cut out right in the last week there. Although, as I said, there's always one or two.
I mean, with what is it? With great power comes great responsibility.
Yes.
Optimus.
I believe. Yeah, there we go. Well, that's Spider-Man said that, but Optimus,
Spider-Man
lives that. I mean,
he's hanging out.
I was just noticing.
Actually, it was Spider-Man's Uncle Ben. Was the one who actually said that. But what did Optimus say? I'm sure he said some pretty great things.
I think he said something very similar to that. That's at least what came to mind as I looked and I saw Optimus sitting there in truck form, no less, not transformed.
It's a Lego of Optimus that does transform, but I'm afraid if I try to transform it, like pieces are just going to fall off.
Gotcha. It's one of those that we were talking about before.
Yeah, it's a little more finicky.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to take my time doing it. But then, so the graduation ceremony, it's a longer one. It's on 2 hours. Usually, it takes 2 hours. So President Trump was the speaker. So he spoke for about an hour.
This was your okay. I didn't even make the correlation, but I saw the news stories covering it. So you were there.
I was there.
Okay.
I was there. And so he spoke for about an hour, and then it takes an hour and change to have all 1,000-ish new lieutenants walk across the stage and get their diplomas. Right. And then afterwards, what we do then is they will sort of spread all over the installation for what we call call it a bar pinning ceremony, call it a promotion ceremony, call it a commissioning ceremony. Sort of one graduate with one officer to re-administer the oath of office, talk about what it is they're about to do, something a little more intimate for each family, as opposed to the big graduation in the stadium. And so I was all over the campus. A couple of people who asked me to swear them in on different ends of the installation, and then just sort of walking where I could to cadets that I knew to just kind of shake their hands and say congratulations. So I think all told, I got about 25,000 steps yesterday.
Now, do they get like their forgive me, I'll say pin, but I mean like their rank insignia bars, that kind of thing. Do they get that at that point, or no? They're just still cadets, and it's
they do.
They do.
No, so they
do you pound it into their chest like the Navy SEALs do?
We're not allowed to do that anymore. No. But so I guess strictly legally, as soon as they throw their hats in the air. So if you watch the video, the tradition is they all throw their hats in the air. They are lieutenants at that point. They can leave the installation and go off to do their Army thing. Okay. But most of them will choose to have something with their family, a little more personal. That way their families get a chance. Typically the way we do that is an officer from the faculty that the cadet chooses will swear them in, and then their family will come and pin their bars on them. And so
that's where they slam it in.
Yeah, the family gets to do that. Yeah, so mom and dad are like, here's what
for all those years. Yeah. All right.
That's right. That's right.
Excellent. 25,000 steps, by the way. Not a small amount.
Yeah.
I mean,
not in the best of shoes.
Yeah, 12. Fair enough. You're probably in dress shoes, I'm imagining. So, not great for walking a ton of steps. I mean, because like 12,000, that's a lot in a day. 25,000, that is some serious stepping.
That's a day at Disneyland, is what that is. It's 25,000 steps.
I think my legs would fall off at 25,000 steps. Pretty sure.
Luckily, I had some breaks in there, and everywhere you go, people feed you. So that's
helpful.
Makes a good day. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my day.
Okay. All right. Where to start? And I'll actually cover the not so exciting stuff first, which is over the weekend, yesterday, I played Super Uber. I drove up to Reno, picked my sister up, and pulled her back down so she could come back home finally from visiting with my mom. So that's basically a 2-hour drive each way. I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
And the weekend, it's a quiet weekend, but we're managing to do stuff, even though we haven't really had anything planned. Like Friday night, we went out, listened to music, had a nice dinner. We're gonna do kind of something similar probably tonight. Go out and listen to some music. I'm just waiting for Lego pieces to go flying, and then tomorrow we're probably gonna go do some wine tasting and go pick up a bunch of wine that's overdue for being picked up. However, the big story for me was Wednesday. So I'm at work, which looks very similar to what you see right now, which is me sitting at my desk working away on my PC, although I use a laptop for work. And I have this window off to my right, which you can't see, but it looks out onto the street in front of the house. And so I'm, just working away. And oftentimes we'll get Amazon deliveries, and the drivers will come. They come up to our front door, and they'll knock, drop the package, and leave. And Optimus is staying intact. I like it. I hear this really loud bang, like knocking. And it's like, 3 very loud knocks. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, Amazon driver's a little aggressive today. So I hadn't really looked out front because one of the things I will do often is I just close my blinds over so I'm not getting distracted by every car driving by, that kind of thing. So I start walking towards the front door, and the hallway going down our hall, you have windows so you can kind of see who's there. And I notice it looks like somebody in uniform, but they're kind of off to the side. They're not in front of the door. So I get to our front door, I open the door, and it's a police officer. And I'm like, okay. And he said, hey, no worries. You're not in trouble or anything like that. I'm not here for you. He's like, but we do have an incident happening behind your house. And I'm just wondering if it would be okay if we have a couple of armed officers in your backyard. And I was like, yeah, that's not a problem at all. And in my head, I was just like, armed officers. Well, of course they're armed. They're always armed, right? So, I closed the door, and he said, and just stay inside for the time being. And so I was like, okay. So then, of course, the curiosity is getting the best of me. And I'm like, so I open up the front, blinds, and I'm looking out there, and I see two police cars, and they're on the street. One has his lights on, one doesn't. And then so I'm like walking to the backyard. I'm looking, trying to see where they're at. I can't see them. So now my curiosity is raising. And so I'm talking to my wife, who her client has a daughter who is a dispatcher for the police department. So she showed her an app that allows her to listen in on the PD and fire department channel. So they start listening to try and figure out what's going on. So it turns out they're talking about somebody is barricaded in an ADU unit, which is an additional dwelling unit that you can get, like a grandma's quarters, if you will, or in-laws quarters, grandma quarters, in-laws quarters. So I'm still not gravitating to like this being a dangerous situation. And I go into our bedroom, and I'm like looking, because we have windows on the side area of our house, and I see one of the officers, but our blinds were all drawn down, so there's like a sliver about 3 inches tall that I can see out, and I'm looking, and I'm like, that's a muzzle of an AR-15, and I'm like, this feels more serious than just, can we go in your backyard? So at that point, I'm like, all right, maybe I'm just going to gravitate to the front of the house now, just stay in my office. And then we get a notification over the phone, as well as a text message saying basically to shelter in place and self-protect, which I thought was the funniest thing I've ever heard. Shelter in place and self-protect. And then they go on to describe self-protect in the voicemail message, which basically is, in a nutshell, lock all your doors and windows. And if you have an animal or pet that you can safely pull inside, do so. This way you're not distracted by them, type thing. To me, self-protect is something very different than that, if you ask me, but that's okay. But again, now things are sinking in even further that this is becoming more serious. And as I'm thinking that, I look and I see a canine unit pull up in front of my house now. So in the meantime, all of our neighborhood has think of it as like a WhatsApp group. It's just a text message group that they're texting back and forth, like, what the hell's going on? My neighbor next door is talking about how she has an armed officer out in her yard with his gun drawn as well. And then we learn that down the street, there's two big SWAT Bearcats that have cordoned off the end of the street. Turns out it is directly behind my house. It's the house behind our house that's having the problem. And it is basically one of our neighbor's brother has been suffering from mental issues. He had a gun. And then the police officers come to the door and they're like, hey, we can't make you leave, but we are asking that you voluntarily leave. And he said, in particular for you, he's like, if shenanigans should happen, and I love that he used that phrase, but he's like, you're in direct line. And so I just said, hey, you don't need to tell me twice. So at that point, I got in the car and left, and it got resolved within about 45 minutes. They ended up taking him into custody. Everything was fine. No, there was no shots fired after that. But it was an unnerving moment in life. I have not had that happen, let alone with police asking to go into my backyard, but just have that kind of situation happen in my lifetime. So I don't really want to do it again. I'll say that. But yeah, so it was interesting. It was an interesting Wednesday.
No doubt.
Yeah. Mr. Matthew, you are muted in case you're wanting to say something here. I'm just saying, you muted yourself to make your Lego Optimus.
Yeah, this is a professional show. I was just saying that you can take that out of my pay. That is a scary situation. I wouldn't want to be in that situation. So good on you for keeping your head and wits about you.
I think the way it unfolded, it just kind of unfolded fairly innocently, but it was just like, as it kind of went forward, just things started clicking more into place. And I'm like, this is all of the TV shows that I watch, the cops shows that you've seen in the past, where it's like, I slowly realized that if they start shooting, I could be one of those houses where they're like, yeah, and then the random civilian was killed in the line of fire. So anyway, all's well though. It ended peacefully. Hopefully he will get the help he needs. And it is a little unnerving now that I know, though, he is the brother of the person behind me, and so he could come back. And it's like, because he was staying there for a while. Anyway, all right. That is it for story time. By the way, let's quick shout out to Boomer in the chat. He's talking about Dirt Cake. I'm not sure what else. I see some links being posted in there. I'm not going to click on those because I'm not sure what that is, Kim. So were you posting recipes?
The recipes.
Okay.
The recipes. You're fine. No, I'm putting corn in the chat now, so, just so you know.
What was that, Mr. Matthew?
I was saying they're all safe links to food.
This is important. Yeah. Yes, safe links. All right. What do we got?
Today I feel like playing computer games. Today I feel like playing computer games.
All right. We are at that point of the show. We're going to talk about video games. Kim, I think we haven't covered the last batch of the Prime games for May.
Right. Alrighty. So the last couple batches of Prime games. Well, yeah, I'll just start from the 22nd and go on. What the hell? We've got Fate, Thief 2, The Metal Age, Everdream Valley, Chessaruma, The Lost Ashford Ring, and then this week we have Samurai Bringer, Trinity Fusion, Master Plan Tycoon, and Liberate, I assume. So, there you go.
I was going to go with Liberty.
Liberty?
Or Liberté.
All right, Liberté.
Liberté.
There you go, Liberté.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'd go with.
Vive la liberté. Yeah, it says join the revolution. Very, very French shoulder boards there. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And redneck French, apparently. Anyway.
Redneck French.
Parlez-vous.
Shout out to Corazon, by the way. I see him in the chat. And shout out to Boomer. I don't think I really gave him a proper shout out, but I wanted to give him some love. Gary needs all the love he can get.
Well, it was his birthday, so, you know.
We talked about this, though. He's really old. I mean, seriously.
I know.
At some point, you don't want to talk about birthdays. When you're that old, you really don't want to talk about your birthday anymore. So, all right. Let's talk about what we have been playing. Kim, I'm just going to get this out of the way. For the love of Pete, Kim, have you played anything other than Baldur's Gate? I need to know now.
I have.
Okay.
I played, it just showed up on Game Pass. I played Retro Classics, which has a bunch of old, like Atari games. There's a couple SNES games, and I don't know, they've got a whole bunch of like retro games on there. And I did play Pitfall from the Atari, and I played Freeway on the Atari the other day. Just for
Freeway. Isn't Freeway the one, it's like, it's basically Frogger, but with a chicken?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the one.
All right.
You know, and I swear to God, back when I was 14, that seemed to be apparently, you know, very difficult. But here I am at 47, and I'm like, why did I think this was hard? So, because I like got 20 points in like, I don't know, 5 minutes or something. So.
What I think is important, and I'm glad you pulled up Retro Classics. We'll cover a little bit more of this in the news section, but this is a great teaching tool for kids to understand how good they have it now, because most of the games in there are from the Atari, the Atari catalog.
2600, yeah.
And they're freaking horrible. They're absolutely horrible games. But at the time, they were cutting edge, and we thought it was the most incredible thing in the world. And now I look at that, and you compare that in contrast to something like Doom Dark Ages, and it's just like, good Lord, we've come so
Look
far.
how far we've come.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? I mean, for me, anyway, the Atari was our first big game. I mean, besides going to like the bowling alley and playing pinball. But the Atari was our first, big gaming console. That was what got us all started. So for me, it was kind of fun to go back and play some of the games we used to play way back when. So
this is on my to-do list. I have not done this yet, but absolutely, I need to experience the bad just to remind me of the good.
Right.
Mr. Matthew, do you have any plans to visit the Retro Classics Arcade? It's a mouthful for me to say.
I didn't know this was available, but I was just looking at it on the Xbox app, and I think I'll check that out. A little bit of nostalgia. We have one of those. Sometimes you see them on the end cap at Best Buy. It's like a USB stick that has 8 or 12 old games on it and comes with a wireless controller. We have one of those that we fire up every now and again. I'm waiting for the Intellivision collection. I don't know if you remember that. Console.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Intellivision boxing. I remember that. It was like a top-down view of stick figures with bulbs on the end that were supposed to be their gloves.
Yeah.
Yep.
We had an Intellivision, and so that one had a weird controller because you had like a dial, and then you had the 10 key on the bottom, and each game came with a little plastic thing that you would slide over the 10 key to tell you what each of the keys did. And so after about maybe 50 games of each game, the thing would just be worn out, and so you had no idea anymore what all the keys did. I'm looking forward to the Intellivision Classic Pack, but I'll check this one out.
Okay. By the way, of course, they never understood that games didn't get updates or patches If they were rubbish, it never got better. So true.
They were just rubbish.
They
You
shipped
just
as
suffered through it.
is.
Yep.
Yeah. In fact, I want to
Yeah.
say it wasn't until really, I think the Xbox 360 era that games started getting actual patches and fixes outside of PC. PC, you did have that happening, but console wise, it was like, no, you had the carts, you had it was the disc. That was it.
I think even PC, it wasn't until that 2007, 8 timeframe when broadband became widely available, and so asking someone to make a big download like that became reasonable. And that then began the end of the discs.
So many memories are just boiling up right now. Or bubbling up. I mean, the sound of the modem connecting.
Yep.
Which you can also like make that direct correlation to the AOL sound, but I mean it was the bam, 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 and then it would connect.
Yep.
And then if you were on AOL, of course you got the you've got mail. But everything else is just connected, right?
Right.
And there was no worse feeling than trying to listen for that modem sound and it not connecting.
Yeah. Or you're in the middle of a big download and the phone rings.
Yes.
Yep.
Or they don't know you're on the internet and they pick up the phone and they're like, what's going on with your phone? It's like, oh no.
Or for those that were fortunate enough or unfortunate enough, depending on how you want to look at that, had the fax machine that they forgot to unplug or turn off. And so you would be calling the house and all you'd be getting was the fax machine. Equally horrible noise to hear.
We did not have a fax machine. We did not have internet in my house. I did not have access to the internet until I got to college.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I didn't get internet until I got out of high school. So
I'm trying to think. We had internet. My dad was a big advocate of like the computer age, and so he was one of the first adopters of a personal computer at the house. And I will never forget. I mean, I was I just was doing my best to convince my dad to buy an Apple IIe. And sadly, my dad said that Texas Instruments was the future of computing. So, yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, exactly. But okay, I digress. All right, so retro classics, awesome. Definitely have to check that out. Now, give me the Baldur's Gate 3 shenanigans update. Who are you romancing this week?
Oh, that's the same every week. It's not any different. I'm just stuck. But no, I did find out that I'm apparently too much of a loot goblin because I've gotten to the point now I sell my own armor, even though I'm technically wearing it at the time, and I don't realize that I've sold it until I've walked away from the merchant. Because the other day I was in the Grove and I went to go talk to Zevlor and we're walking in there, and all of a sudden I look at myself and I'm going, why do I look funny? And then I realized I'm standing there in my underwear. So yeah, I had to go back to Aaron, I think was the guy I ended up selling it to, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have to either buy my armor back or buy some different. I don't know, between the price of the armor that I sold and some upgraded armor there wasn't much of a difference, so I ended up buying the upgraded armor. But yeah, I've done that twice now. Don't even realize I've sold my own armor. So I'll walk
I feel
away
like
in my underwear.
subconsciously you're doing this on purpose.
Oh, that's the thing.
You just want to be naked in Baldur's Gate, apparently.
Yes, apparently you've caught me. That's what it is.
I knew it.
No, because if you've ever tried to battle it, I don't know if I'd want to try to battle in my underwear or not. I don't think it would end well. So yeah, I've done that twice now. I don't know why, because the little icon is right there saying that, that's the armor you've equipped. But for some odd reason, when I go on my spree to sell shit and make money, I sell my armor. So, there we are. Other than, yes? Go on.
I had a similar experience in Cyberpunk recently. It's one of the early missions where you end up like several times throughout the game, you end up blacking out and waking up in your apartment. It's kind of a weird thing, but for some reason, all the clothing was unequipped, And so I did not realize this because it's a first person game. And I was just playing, and then I got on a motorcycle, and all of a sudden V is just on this motorcycle in his underwear. I'm like, what in the world? So you got to pay attention, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so yeah, there's that. I just kept looking around at a story, and then along me like nobody was gonna tell me I'm running around in my underwear. Thanks, guys. You know,
You'd
whatever.
think
But no,
at some
other than
point they
that-
would say something.
You know,
They're a
right?
tolerant bunch.
They are.
Yeah,
So,
apparently.
Oblivion, or not Oblivion, Skyrim would, if you did not have some clothing equipped, the NPCs would make comments about it. Like, hey, you may want to cover up or something. Or aren't you
That's
cold?
correct. You're right.
Yeah.
I think that's a useful mechanic, especially in a
Right.
game
Yeah.
where you can easily not realize you're just naked.
Right. So yeah,
okay.
there was that. I started another run through as a monk this time because I kept seeing on the internet how apparently the monk is overpowered as hell. So I thought I'd give it a shot. I'm not very far, so I don't know if the monk is or isn't overpowered, but I'll keep you updated.
It's
Other than
okay.
that, we
So
Yes.
so you're gonna go for another playthrough, and normally I think. And this is just my interpretation of people as they're playing through games. They're like, you know what? I'm going to go for a challenge this time. Maybe do hardcore mode. Kim here is this character class is overpowered as hell. That's what I want to play. Interesting,
The thing it is
Kim.
with the monk though is you don't have to equip a weapon necessarily. You go in there and
You are the
basically
weapon.
punch people.
Yeah.
Right. So
Okay.
that's what I'm trying to figure out. How are they that overpowered when all you're doing is punching people? Because here I am with all my other characters have various weapons, and I'm still getting my ass kicked. So
Kim, have you seen
wanna
Bruce
see.
Lee?
Yes.
Okay. Now you understand. Be the weapon, Kim.
Right.
Be the weapon.
Right. So we'll see how that goes. Other than that, I have thought about doing a Dark Souls run and seeing how that goes. I just don't know. I'm too much of a Pollyanna to see if I could stick with that or not. So, who knows?
I will pull monk footage for next show, so
Okay.
we can see the overpoweredness of punching people in the
Okay,
face.
yeah, because right now I'm only like a level, I don't know, what am I, level 3, maybe 4? And right now they're, you know what, though, for punching people, it's not too bad, because I took one guy down in like 2 punches. So, I don't know, maybe there's
As
something
punching
to it.
goes, it's not too bad. I like it.
Right, there you go.
right.
Anyway, other than we played a little COD multiplayer, that's been about it for me this week. So.
Okay. Chris, what's been going on with you?
So also COD multiplayer. Sarah and I played on Friday. So the Fatal Friday was just the two of us. And as usual, I was holding my own until I got pulled up into Sarah's skill rank, and then I was just struggling. So she was carrying the team. So well done. And then I finished South of Midnight. Went ahead and finished the story on that. So where I was the last time we talked was in the sort of broken version of New Orleans, going through that mission. And I thought there were still 2 chapters left, but it turns out it was just the boss battle because the last 2 chapters were really short.
Yes.
And so, so I went ahead and wrapped that up. I thought it ended well. It ended nicely. And I think I'll play it again someday in the future. And I probably go back and try to do an achievements run because I tried really hard not to look at anything about the game as I was going through because they say right on the loading screen, like, this is a story. We want you to experience the story.
Right.
So I didn't look up any guides or anything. I didn't even look ahead at what the names of the achievements were. So I might go back through later and play again, try to like find all the power ups. And there's 3 achievements for winning the boss battles without taking any damage, which seems like it might be doable once you figure out the pattern. So we'll see. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really great game. And if you haven't checked it out, particularly if you have Game Pass, you should definitely check it out.
I would agree. I enjoyed my time with South of Midnight. I think the story and you're right. Experience it for the story. I think that is really the right call. Don't go in trying to be the achievement hunter. Go in just to experience the story firsthand. It surprised me, and we've talked about it. You know, it covers some very dark areas that I was not prepared for, but was done in a very, I thought, I don't want to say like heartstring pulling way, but I mean it had a gravity to it. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. So, what
Yeah.
else?
So one quick comment about Cyberpunk. Since we were talking about Cyberpunk 2077,
Yes.
I was getting near the end. I started the final mission, and they threw something at me that really irritates the crap out of me in video games, and that is the whole game. You're pretty much free to play however you want. If you want
Right.
to play it stealthy and use your quick hacks, that will work really well. If you want to go running and gunning with an assault rifle, that will work really well. If you want to go in melee with swords and knives, that will work really well. Until all of a sudden, they throw this boss fight at you, where it's a when did this game come out? 2019, I think 2017. It's been out for a while.
Yeah.
So, no, you have to fight this Atom Smasher, which is this big merc legendary merc, and you're trapped in this little arena with him, and he's got some pretty powerful attacks and moves really fast. And so all of a sudden, if you've been playing like I've been playing, which is kind of a stealthy, use the cameras, take out all the bad guys before you get in the room kind of play style, you have to switch everything up all of a sudden. And I'm sure there's a gimmick to it, like there's some weak point or something in the room that I can exploit, but I haven't been able to stay alive long enough to figure out what that is yet. Which wouldn't bother me if I could just go right back into the boss fight, but there's about 5 minutes of game that I have to play to get back to it every time. Yeah. So that really irritates me.
I don't blame
you. The Outer Worlds did the same. Yeah. The Outer Worlds did the same thing, where I played the whole game as lockpicking, hacking, speech checks. Mm-hmm. And then right at the end, there's this big boss fight. I was like, I hate this.
Right.
So I will try it again. I like Cyberpunk 2077 enough that I'll go back and finish it. But I just don't like that where it's one thing if you're doing boss fight, and you kind of building, but this one is just all of a sudden out of nowhere. I was like, it's not cool.
I remember that boss battle is not a fun one. I think I was at my wit's end a few different times with that particular fight. So yes, I definitely understand your frustration.
And I don't mind that it's hard. I mind that I have put my stats into some skills that seem to be useless in this encounter. Yeah. And my weapons that I brought with me.
I think the hacking skill is something that you can utilize. If I remember correctly, and I may be not, so it's been a while.
No, I think so.
But I think the hacking skill in particular is one that you can kind of utilize and help the fight.
Yeah.
I actually did not find the first person melee combat to be all that great. I was like, using the sword it didn't feel like it had the punch that the other weapons had. Which I mean, I guess it doesn't technically, but I was very much a guns and hacking character.
Yeah. So the first character that I played, I've been doing pistols and hacking. That's kind of been my main thing. I started a second one to try something different, and it's mostly blades and assault rifles.
Okay.
And if you spec out your character right, the blades can be pretty powerful. Yeah. But you have to put some points into maneuverability to be able to use that dash all over the place. So it's pretty good. But still enjoying it. A little frustrated with this particular piece of it, but still enjoying it.
Okay.
And to kind of round out what I've been doing, I decided that Super Earth needs me. And so some friends of mine and I dove into the latest Helldivers 2 update. And if you've played Helldivers or Helldivers 2, you're kind of familiar with so you're kind of familiar with the galactic battle where you go out and you're on the attack in the bug worlds and the bot worlds and wherever the Illuminate are. In this latest update, the Illuminate have launched an all-out attack on Super Earth, and so Super Earth is under attack, and it's very interesting. Of the three factions, most people seem to think that the Illuminate are the most boring, and so I think the game devs kind of said, "Okay, we'll show you," and they threw this at us. So one, we get some new enemies. There's some flying enemies. There's a new kind of tanky enemy, and also some new maps that we haven't had before. So the fight is now taking place on the super cities of Super Earth, and they can be pretty intense. It's generally the same. Clear out the area, do the objectives kind of thing. There's just seems to be a lot more enemies coming at you. The game mode we were playing Friday night was you had to stop the ships from landing. And if you did it quickly, there would be less enemies on the map. But the more ships they got on the ground, the more enemies that were on the map.
Yeah.
And so it really punished you for doing bad. You know, it's like if you play well, you're going to do okay. But if you don't, we're just going to punish you. One thing that's changed is there's a lot more civilians now, and if you kill them, you get immediately branded a traitor, which means that Super Earth starts dropping artillery on you until you die. And there are the SEAF, Super Earth Armed Forces soldiers all over, which can help you, but you also have to be careful not to hurt them. So yeah, a nice update. It adds some fresh playability to the game. Adds some new challenges, and looking forward to diving. See what I did there? Diving into that one a little bit. I don't know. Have neither of you, I think, have checked this out. Have you?
I have not. No,
not yet. No.
No. I'm not a PlayStation person. Also, not a PC guy. So, although Steam is the avenue I could go with this. So, sorry,
yes.
the Steam Deck.
Steam Deck.
Yeah,
you both have the Steam Decks, and you're just You're just missing out. Just missing out. Yeah. And, maintaining my No Man's Sky playthrough and continuing to tinker with automation in Astro Near. That's what I've been playing.
Right on. Corzan in the chat was talking about, he said once he finishes Doom, he may have to start Cyberpunk again. So ironically, I ended up picking up Phantom Liberty this past week on sale. Because I think it was on 25% off or something like that. And I was like, you know what? I'm pulling the trigger. I'll pick it up. So I picked that up. I also picked up another game, which I'll talk about in a second. But I did finish The Precinct. And I've got Mark hooked on this. And so this is this, isometric police simulator. Honestly, this is, they talked about way back when Grand Theft Auto was first being developed that they might make it a police action game, that you wouldn't play as the bad guy, you'd play as the police. They scrapped that idea, and obviously for good reason. I think that they have successfully made that case that the playing as the bad guys was the right way. But this game gives you that vibe of playing, an older Grand Theft Auto style game, but you're the police, and you get caught up in a lot of the mundane stuff of issuing traffic tickets and parking tickets and the felony warrant stops. All of that is just oddly satisfying. I will say I did encounter a bug that almost broke the game for me because I could not figure out how to get it to push forward, because towards the latter part of the game, you get into the final story beats, and they will send you on missions, and they tell you at this point, moving forward, you are in story mode. You no longer be doing your daily shifts. You're going to kind of complete out the story. And so I knew I was in that mode, and there's a mission where they ask you to go to a location, and so you drive to the location, and typically speaking, the way this handles those kinds of opportunities is there'll be like a purple box that you see on as you're driving up, and you park in that, and that will activate the cutscene or just the mission. And so this particular mission, I'm like driving up to the purple box, and it normally will flash white once you get to it, and it just is staying purple. And I'm like parking, backing up, going in, backing up, going in, nothing. Finally, I like kill myself to reload the game and see if that'll work. Nothing. And it was reloading me into the same load, continue game from before. And so finally I had to quit the game, restart it back up, switch vehicles, which I think that was the catalyst, because I wasn't using the standard police cruiser. I was using one of the police vehicles that you can kind of unlock. And so I think that for some reason was triggering this game not to properly process me having reached the location. So it finally did it. I was able to complete the game, finished it up. It's not a terribly long game. I would say 13, 15 hours, somewhere in there, if you just kind of power through. The nice thing is it does give you playthrough afterwards, so you can just then go back to being a cop. And it will face you with a kind of a choice towards the end. It doesn't feel like it has a huge difference in terms of how this game plays out. I already can guess, my choice versus what the alternative choice, what that looks like or what that changes, and it's minimal to the overall liking of the story. I mean, it's not going to bother you one way or the other. I probably will go back and play it a little bit here and there, but I do think, even though it has the replayability within it built into it, you're probably playing through this just the one time through the story. And then unless they add some DLC to this and other story missions, I don't see myself really coming back to this for a lot more. But I enjoyed my playthrough. I definitely enjoyed my time with this. So if you're just jonesing for a Grand Theft Auto-like experience, but it's playing as the cops, this game gives you that in spades. Now, speaking of cops,
I was going to say, it seemed like you finished that one pretty quick, because I think last week you were talking about just starting it.
I powered through this. I put some serious time in this game. I definitely enjoyed, and it is easy to kind of power up yourself because, you take on your patrols. You can select different patrols that will garner you experience based on how well you do within them. Certain patrols are easier to do than others in terms of, if I'm just issuing parking tickets, for example, you'll get 50 experience point for correctly issuing the right citation, and then 50 for putting it on the car in the patrol zone. Like if I issue a parking ticket outside of the patrol zone, I only get the experience for correctly guessing the citation. If I'm doing a gang stop where I arrest a gang member that has narcotics on them, they've got an illegal gun, and I pin all of that on them, I'm talking more like 1,500 experience. So, and different patrols will have specific goals. So, you'll be on parking enforcement. All you're doing is you'll still get those random encounters, but it's really focused on parking enforcement. If you're doing gang crime or gun violence elimination, you're going to encounter a lot more scenarios because they feed those scenarios into the pipeline, so to speak, of your shift. So going with those will give you a lot more experience, and then you can kind of power your way through the game a little faster, I think. On the cop front, I also saw there was a sale for RoboCop. And I had heard a lot about RoboCop Rogue City, being that it was, playing as RoboCop. And I was like, you know what? It's $7. It probably means this is coming to Game Pass. So you're welcome if it does come to Game Pass. I did a Kim for you. But
I already bought it.
I had to do it. I pulled the trigger. So I'm playing RoboCop. And I just will say this. I didn't find the gameplay so far to be like, it's nothing spectacular. You come in as RoboCop, you walk around kind of like a tank. You can't jump, you can't climb over things. You just walk around everything, and you're shooting just as RoboCop does. And you have your aiming, reticle. All of that gets highlighted just the way it would. I'm going to fast forward the video so you kind of get a sense of as I fast forward into a commercial. The sound in this game, though, is amazing. And so I had this game cranked up. It was Friday afternoon. I was done working. And I am just walking through, blasting away. And there's terrain deformation. There's body parts that will get deformed, as you see on screen here. And my wife comes in and she's like, I could hear you from the street. What the hell are you playing? But yeah, RoboCop. It's not going to be a great game by any stretch, but there's something satisfying about it, and it just has that itch. It's scratching that I'm enjoying it. Maybe it's the flashbacks to just the old RoboCop movies. It feels like that. It has that right vibe, and so yeah, RoboCop. $7 right now on sale if you want it on Game Pass at least, or Xbox. It's fun.
And it's got a lot of the original actors in it.
It does have a lot of the original actors in it. I will say you can opt to use other weapons. Like right now, you see he in the screen that he's got an Uzi. I found honestly the original gun was, at least so far, that was the best gun to use. And maybe it's just because also I like the sound of that gun, because it sounds like a freaking cannon going off. And so I just had a blast just pulverizing people. And you get like a punch mechanic, but again, this game is just about shooting. The punch mechanic works when you get up close, but for the most part, I'm just shooting at distance anyway. So I never found a real need to use the punch mechanic. I don't know what other kind of upgrades you might experience in the game. I haven't experienced that yet because I literally just kind of played through the first opening mission. I imagine there might be something that happens that kind of sets you back, and you have to kind of that's when you kind of have to reestablish your powers. But it's RoboCop. Anybody have a strong affinity for RoboCop? Yes, no?
I like the movies back in the day. I haven't played the game yet, but I did like the movies.
Yeah,
back in the day.
I haven't played the game, but it looks fun. I'm sorry, you'll have to remind me what's the subtitle of the game?
RoboCop Rogue City.
Rogue City. All right, I'll have to check that one out. It's still $50 on Steam, so sometimes PCMR doesn't come through for you.
Sometimes PCMR, but Xbox Game Pass, you might be able to get it on sale through that. That would mean you have to buy it on a Windows platform, though. So but anyway, yeah, RoboCop. You just can't go wrong. I have yet to hear though. I'd buy that for $1. That does need to be in this game at some point. If I don't hear that, this is a complete failure. But all right, enough of that. And that was really it. Outside of the multiplayer session that we had, which was always fun.
Right.
It's really just been those two games, and literally I poured just so many hours into the Precinct, but happy with that experience. So anyway, all right, Mr. Matthew, do we have a quiz?
Of course, we have a quiz. You told me I'm in charge of the quiz.
Now everybody get settled. Get away from the windows. Now look, good. It's time for the quiz. Yeah, you know what? Oh, too bad. Tough.
I love that sound effect.
I use that one in class now when I give a quiz. Like, I play that. Too bad.
I like it.
All right. So, since I've been playing some sneaky games lately, this week's theme is sneaky games. Sneaking and peeking through the years. Yeah, okay. Calling it sneaking and peeking through the years. So I got 4 games for you. Various years, various scores, various platforms. You know the drill.
All right.
And I have just flipped an invisible coin and decided that Kim is going first on this first round. So let's see. Corzan, Lord, Boomer, if any of you are still there in the chat, feel free to play along. Always fun when you play along. And so your first game for stealth mechanics is Metal Gear Solid 5 on the PlayStation 4. Guess the Metacritic score for Metal Gear Solid 5 on the PlayStation 4. And the first guess is for Kim.
I'm going to say 90.
Kim says 90. All right. And while we wait to see if any of the chat wishes to play along, we'll let Greg deliberate on his score.
Yeah, I'm pondering now because Metal Gear Solid 5 on PlayStation 4. I'm trying to remember which Metal Gear this was. Was this the one where I think this is the one.
The subtitle is The Phantom Pain.
Phantom Pain.
Yeah, the Phantom Pain. Yeah.
It's a pretty good score, Kim. It's a pretty good score, I think. I'm gonna have to Price is Right you, but the question is, do I go above or below? And that's really what we're talking about here. This is tough. I want to say I'm gonna go higher. I'm gonna go with 91.
Greg's gonna go with 91. Corzan comes in from the chat with a 79.
Oh.
Greg, you chose correctly. The correct answer was 93.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so let's see. 11 plus 3 is 14. So after the first round, Greg is up by 1 point. Score is 2 for Greg, 3 for Kim, and 14 for Corzan. And so bringing us to the PCMR. This is one of your indie darlings, Greg. The game is Aragami. And just in case I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, it is Aragami, Aragami. And you're up first in this round for Aragami on the PC.
Aragami.
I'm going to go... I may be conflating this with a very different game. So that's the danger I'm in right now, is because there was another game similarly titled, if not the game. I want to say it was received fairly well. So I'm going to say 88.
All right. Greg's going to give that one an 88. What do you think, Kim?
85.
Kim's going to Price is Right, Greg, with an 85, and so what?
It's not the full Price is Right. I mean, she gave a little room there. She's playing the hedge game a little bit. She's thinking it's lower.
She did, but she also satisfied my weird thing with numbers and in going with a multiple of 5. Right? It has to either be an even number or a multiple of 5.
By the way, if you ever play Family Feud, it's never an odd number. Don't ever go with, like, if they say, out of 1, if you would rate how well you are a lover 1 to 10, and people are like, oh, a 7, a 3, and it's like, no, it's always going to be even numbers. It just falls that way. Anyway,
always even numbers. All right,
just saying.
Well, while I do some quick math, the correct answer, Corzan comes in with an 86. The
Smart
correct
play.
answer was 71.
Oh,
So
okay.
he kind of hedged his bets right in the middle there. That's 15. And so going into round 3,
Kim just took the lead.
Kim takes the lead with 17. Greg very close behind with 19. And Corzan hoping to pull it out at the end here with 29.
It's like the
2
Indianapolis
questions to
500
go.
going on right now. We just rounded the third bend. Kim just overtook me on the outside. Corzan's right
That's
there.
It's the what was the big, what they call it, what they've raced the Oscar Mayer Wienermobiles. I don't know if you saw that one. It was like pre-race festivities. Yeah. So there we go. Still plenty of time. So your next sneaky title, going to the Xbox Series X, is Hitman 3. Hitman 3 for the Xbox Series X. And we are back to Kim with the first guess.
89.
Kim says 89. That was quick. That was not a hesitation. All right.
It's
Hitman. While you think about that,
okay.
My Steam notifications has just popped up that our British friend, who claims his PC doesn't work because I broke it, mate, is playing Baldur's Gate 3. So
and you just activated your camera also, which is pretty funny.
Oh, did I? I did. Let's. What did I do?
The air quotes basically zoomed you out. I'm not sure how you did that, but
yeah.
I don't know all of the gesture. I like the gesturing and I hate the gesturing all in the same breath because I talk with my hands a lot and I inevitably activate the camera to start tracking me. Okay.
So Hitman 3.
Hitman 3.
While we're diming out Marcanix for playing Baldur's Gate, well, he should be podcasting on his broken PC.
Yeah, and Corzan came with a 92, which is so. I know Hitman 3 became beloved, and it was very well regarded by certain groups within the media, myself included. I absolutely loved Hitman 3. I don't know. It was up in the 90s. So what was Kim's score? 88?
Kim said 89.
89. So I'm going to go with, it's begrudgingly, but I'm now trying to play the smart game a little bit here. Again, thinking about what I need to do to make up. I'm going to say 86.
Greg's going to say 86. You almost nailed it, Greg. It was 87. It was 87. So
I think
anyone's match here with one question to go. Kim has 19, Greg has 20, and Corzan is at 34. So anyone's match on this final. Here's your wild card: the Nintendo Switch. Now this is a game you may have played a while ago, but we're looking at the remastered version on the Nintendo Switch. So this is the Nintendo Switch release of Mark of the Ninja Remastered. So let's see. We're back to Greg's first guess.
The remastered version, though. This is the rub. I'm gonna just go with 91.
Greg says 91. Going for it.
The remastered though could potentially be hurting this because I don't know. I just remember the original. I think it was held in high regard, so I'm just put it out there. I'm going for it too on top of this because I'm in the last lap, the last turn. I got to hit the gas and go full at. So
on the final straight. It's on the final straight. All right, Kim, are you gonna defend your lead? Or are you gonna block the pass?
I'm gonna go 85.
Kim's gonna say 80.
Like you said, it is a remaster. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know the original was good or supposed to be, but I don't know about the remaster.
All right. We're gonna wait a minute, and Corzan says 80. So let's
Mark
see.
says he's just testing it under load, he says.
Oh, I'm sure he is. Yeah.
Sure, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some kind of load, all right. Shadowheart. Let's see. So some quick math here. Okay, so Greg, you pulled it on the last lap there. So the remaster did hurt Mark of the Ninja. The original was a 94.
Okay.
The remaster got an 89. So 89 for the remaster.
Clearly.
And so our final score for this week is 22 for Greg, 23 for Kim, and 43 for Corzon. I think he felt bad for beating you both so badly a couple of weeks ago.
That's fair.
He was taking it easy on you.
Yeah. He didn't want us to banhammer him this time.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. If I keep beating him, they're going to ban me. So well done, all. Thank you all for joining along. We'll be back again next week with another.
And thank you,
Madness,
Chris. Thank you. The Metacritic has been fantastic. Absolutely crushing it. Far better than either Kim or myself were doing prior to this. So I applaud the efforts.
Thank ChatGPT. I've been
okay.
I've been hitting up. So
I feel like that's something you could have kept secret and just your secret sauce, but no.
No. It's so I'm happy to like I'm okay with it. Like there's such a vast world of video games out there, right?
Yeah.
If I only pick the games that I'm going to think of, we all play in the same. We're Xbox gamers, we're PC gamers, right? Some of us are PlayStation gamers because we like to throw away money. And so by using ChatGPT, it pulls in some games that I wouldn't have even thought of. So I'm not ashamed to admit that I'm using modern technology.
Hey, that's what it's there for, right? To be used.
So the live stream says there was a network error. Please check again. Error 2000. I don't know if that might be on my end.
I think that might be on your end because I still see everything up on our end.
Oh, we're back.
So
please ignore everything I just said.
Easily done.
Not a problem.
All right. We are at that point where we're going to talk.
Here is the fucking news.
I just let the jingles finish my sentences, apparently. All right. So, real fast, we are 2 weeks away, literally 2 weeks away from the Xbox showcase, the Game Fest showcase week, E3 that's not E3. We're not doing anything for it this week. However, as I talked about in the chat earlier for our internal podcasting, we're going to next week talk about what we hope to see, what we think we're going to see, cats living, stalking behind you, all of this. That we'll talk next week. In the meantime, just a couple of news stories. And one that's already been spoiled, so we might as well just talk about it now, which is the Xbox and AntStream Arcade have launched a new Retro Classics game service in Game Pass. So the interesting thing about this is the Retro Classics is a collaboration between Xbox and AntStream Arcade, a streaming service which offers more than 1,300 retro games on demand. However, the Xbox version offers more than 60 classic Activision games from the 80s and 90s. It includes such titles as Commando, Grand Prix, Kaboom. There we go. That's a name out of the past. MechWarrior 2, just for my own personal.
Right?
Yeah. Pitfall. But so the thinking is that they will add some more games into this and eventually bring the total to more than 100 retro classic games in that collection. So it's out now already. It's in Game Pass. So yeah, go check out some of the old school games that we thought were cutting edge at the time that are absolutely horrible now. Pitfall actually is like the epitome of that, by the way.
Yeah, but I love Pitfall.
Well, because I remember, so when Pitfall came out, there was an actual arcade Pitfall game.
Yes.
And the arcade Pitfall game actually didn't have the worst graphics. It was okay. Mm-hmm. And then the Atari 2600 version of Pitfall came out. And you want to talk about a disappointing conversion. It was. Sorry, I am being fed alcohol. Hang on.
Nothing wrong with that.
Thank you, honey. My wife just threw alcohol at me. How often does that happen? I am afraid to open
you live in the
this.
dream.
I know. It is a carbonated Smirnoff ice drink, although, little red, white, and blue for Memorial Day weekend. But anyway, so Pitfall on Atari was horrific. But again, this is one of those things where it's going to help you appreciate where we are now. Anyway, I'm excited to check this out. I'm glad, Kim, you've already checked it out, and I'm excited that Mr. Matthew, you can also check it out through Game Pass. So, okay. On the sad news front, Sony confirms it's ending its PlayStation Stars loyalty program. I know everybody was hugely just involved in this. But starting today, PlayStation Stars will no longer accept new members. The program will fully end on November 2nd, 2026. Current PlayStation Stars members can continue to redeem points until that date. However, the ability to earn digital collectibles, points, and level up your status will end on July 23rd, 2025. Since launching the program, we've learned a lot from evaluating the types of activities our players respond to best. And as a company, we are always evolving with the player and industry trends. And this came from Grace Chen of PlayStation. Through this evaluation, we have decided to refocus our efforts and will be winding down the current PlayStation version of PlayStation Stars. We will continue to evaluate our key findings from this program and are looking into ways to build upon these learnings. There was a lot of technical talk for not a lot of people really probably got involved with this, and they've decided it wasn't worth supporting at the end of the day. I think that's the realities of that.
Yeah, I'd go with that because I've got a PlayStation, and yeah, I can count on one hand how many times I actually got stars for anything. So, admittedly, I barely turn my PlayStation on. That could be why, but still.
Fair play. And the taste test.
Well, I was gonna say those are usually
It's got
pretty good.
a fruitiness. Yeah, it's Red, White, and Berry is the name of this. This is the Smirnoff Ice Zero Sugars drink. So at least there's the
All right.
no sugar with probably other chemicals to kill me, but no sugar.
Yes.
I've recently been introduced to the Paloma, which is grapefruit soda, tequila, and a little bit of salt. I think there's one other thing in there. So my current carbonated beverage of choice is the tequila Paloma.
Tequila Paloma, I like it.
Pretty tasty.
I've got some salted caramel whiskey. I haven't tried it yet, but I hear it's pretty good. So we'll see.
Okay.
Is it whiskey or is it bourbon cream? I have some salted caramel bourbon cream, which is a nice topper on coffee.
Oh, I could see that.
That does sound good.
Okay.
Alcoholic. Anyway.
Yeah. We're just a bunch of alcoholics. Oblivion Remastered was April's best-selling U.S. game. Forza Horizon 5 leapt from 42nd to 2nd due to its PS5 release. Wow. This is all from Circana, formerly NPD. So I thought, you know what, because this is a slow news week, this is the last news story we have, but let's just walk through the top 20, because I thought there was an interesting element to this, and that's the reason why I did this. Number 1, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered. Number 2, Forza Horizon 5. Number 3, MLB The Show 25. Number 4, Minecraft. Number 5, Assassin's Creed Shadows. Number 6, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Number 7, Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Number 8, WWE 2K25. And then NBA 2K25, likely because of the playoffs. You always get a bump during playoff time frame for sports games. PGA Tour 2K25. Then at 11, Monster Hunter Wilds. At 12, Split Fiction, congratulations on that, by the way. I mean, a co-op game making the top 20 is pretty impressive. Number 13, really probably the only exclusive on this, and I say exclusive in air quotes, but The Last of Us Part 2 was ranked 13th. Then we have EA Sports FC 25, Grand Theft Auto 5 at 15, Red Dead Redemption at 16, which that's pretty interesting. Red Dead Redemption 2 coming at 16 this late into its lifetime. The Elder Scrolls Online at 17, Elden Ring at 18, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 at 19, and rounding it out, Hogwarts Legacy at 20. So the interesting spin to all of this was twofold. One, there was really only one console exclusive game that made the top 20, which in months past, I don't recall ever seeing just that lack of exclusivity penetrating. The other interesting aspect to this is just that Microsoft is killing it. Because if you look at those top 6 games, actually, if you go top 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the top 7 are Microsoft properties. Then you have Assassin's Creed from Ubisoft and MLB The Show, which is interesting. They say multiple video game manufacturers for that game and Minecraft, and that's because they have different publishers for different platforms. Sony obviously publishes MLB Show on the PlayStation and I believe PC. However, for the Xbox, it's actually MLB that's the publisher on it. And likewise with Minecraft, I'm sure there's a different publisher for, I think the PlayStation version. I could be wrong, but anyway, it's an interesting list of games, and it's
what.
Go ahead.
What stands out to me about this list is how many games are on that list that are not new.
That's the other thing.
Oblivion, 20-year-old game. I get it, remastered, new hype. But I'm looking at Grand Theft Auto 4 came out 12 years ago. Red Dead Redemption 2, I think 5 years. No,
It came out
at least 5
You
years
could
ago.
you could also make the argument Forza Horizon 5 is like a 5-year-old game at this point.
Right.
Or
Yep.
4 years old, I think.
And so you take away the sports games, there's not a lot of new games on that list, and that's what concerns me. I just wonder if the games industry is slipping into the same territory as the movies industry, where they just kind of run out of ideas. Yeah. Anyway.
There absolutely is that element to this. I cannot disagree with that. I think the games industry for a while now has suffered from a lack of creativity, but games like Split Fiction come along and they give you some hope because it's unique, it's different. And I'm not a fan, by the way, of co-op games that force co-op. I love having a co-op option to a game, but I don't play a lot online with friends consistently enough to where I could go through a co-op campaign. My time bandwidth just isn't there. So Split Fiction is just off the table for me. I would love to play through that game if it had some kind of single player element to it that would allow me to just kind of play through as maybe one of the characters and switch to the other character to kind of complete some of the tasks. I don't know. But yeah, any takeaways for you, Kim? Not to throw you on the spot, but
right.
Think now.
I am surprised to see Red Dead Redemption 2, but I totally think it needs to be there because it is a really great game. I put over 200 hours in it, so there's that. I am, Indiana Jones, seeing it jump from 118 to 6. So there's that. So yeah, and like I said, there just isn't a whole lot of new games on here. So that's something.
You know what I didn't see on this list? Baldur's Gate 3.
No, well, yeah, but
I'm totally kissing. I'm just messing.
Doesn't bother me at all.
I know. It'll be interesting to see if it, how different this list changes for the month of May. I don't know that we had a whole bunch of new games though really come out. So
true.
And maybe this is just a sign also because we're not getting a ton of new releases within these kind of months leading up to the June and summer holiday maybe, hopefully come September, October, we start getting or even August, I think we start seeing a lot of newer titles come back into the fray. All right, there we go. That's the news. But we do have new releases to talk about. Kim, what can we look forward to?
Alrighty, your new releases for this week are The Rewinder 2 for PC on May 26th. I wonder if that's like a video game where you're videotape? I don't know. Anyway, anybody remember like the automatic rewinder that they used to sell way back in the day? You put the tape in and it like would rewind it.
Yes.
For some odd reason, that was like a big
one
thing,
shaped
even
like
though
a car.
VCR did it.
Be kind, rewind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, The Rewinder 2 on PC, the 26th. Odd Sparks and Automation Adventure PC, May 27th. To a T for the Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PC, May 28th. Filmography for the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on the 29th. Islands and Trains for the PC, May 29th. Disney Illusion Island for the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PC, May 30th. Elden Ring Night Rain for the PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC on May 30th. And Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma for Switch and PC on May 30th as well. So those are your new releases. And we're almost to June, so look out.
We are almost to June. Looks like Marcanix has fixed his PC problem, or he's just trolling us on Twitch for some reason.
Right.
Islands and Trains. I mean, unless it's a P. Diddy game, I don't quite understand.
I know.
It doesn't feel like those go together. I'm just saying. I've been listening to a lot of P. Diddy coverage for the trial. It is disturbing on many fronts. Anyway. All right. I suppose we're at that time. Mr. Matthew, what kind of play dates do we have set up for the upcoming week?
The best play dates.
Some
people say there are no play dates better. So we have our Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday mostly, Thursday maybe. Shooty time. We aim for 3 p.m. In the financial capital of the world, New York, and that's 12 p.m. for you weirdos out west, and 8 p.m. for those of you who like to break your PC components in the UK. We also have our Fatal Friday, which we aim for 2 rounds of shooting. One begins at 8 p.m. in the UK, and once again at 8 p.m. In U.S. Eastern Time. Otherwise, just look out for us. We like to play games. We like to play games with friends. So just hit us up. Yeah.
I think,
you can
by the
get
way,
in touch with us.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, if you want to use some antiquated technology, you can email the show at ocpodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up on Twitter at OC_podcast. Like and subscribe. Do the thing. There we go.
Do the
Greg,
thing.
I interrupted you.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say, I see Mark in the chat. He's very happy. He's very proud. He fixed his error. However much money it cost him to fix his error, he was able to fix it. But I feel like maybe we need to give him a new nickname, Bender.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. The party robot.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. But you're right about Greg. Okay. I see how it is.
Right?
Love you back, Mr. Mark Bender. Kim, any shout outs for you?
Yeah, I'm going to shout out the ones in the chat. We did Corzon and Boomer both in the chat. And Mark Hanix finally showed up after he fixed his PC or playing Baldur's Gate or whatever it is he was actually going to do instead of being on the show today.
Exactly.
But anyway, shout out to you guys. It's always fun to get on here and do the thing. And hopefully everybody has a good week this week. And over to Chris. So.
Right. Well, I'm going to shout the two of you right back. Always a pleasure to chit chat. I'm going to shout out Mark because he's in the chat, but also because he's an evil genius. All of it is a ruse. He broke his motherboard on purpose because he wanted new parts. That's just the only way that level of damage can happen, by simply removing the central processing unit. So well done, Mark. Well done. And I'm going to shout out ChatGPT, because this large language model is the future. You got to get comfortable with it. And so over to Tank Top to close us out.
Large language model for the win. That's a mouthful to say. If you've ever seen Mark working on things, you can easily understand how this went sideways. Just saying.
That's true. You don't use a torque wrench on your motherboard, Mark. No torque wrenches.
I mean, as soon as he was describing what happened, I had the vision in my head of just the eye bulge, the no. So, yeah.
Oh no!
Shout out to the two of you. Of course, always a pleasure. And you know what? The Americano episode, it's been fantastic. You know, we don't need the rest of the world. We can just be in our tiny bubble. Or not. Okay. Maybe not. I was going to shout out Mark. We've already given him enough, enough of a hard time. We'll see him next week.
Have we?
Ish. I want to shout out all of the graduates, Mr. Matthew. You didn't fail a one of them. I am very pleased. That's
me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
It reflects well on you. I have to imagine. They're like, all right, he's pushing through the numbers. Recruitment's up. But things are going well on the military front, which is, in years past, it's been I have to imagine it's been some tough sledding. Not to go into that side of the world and political talk, but I mean, was it a little rough for a while?
I got to tell you, it's having been in the service now for 25 years and seeing the ebb and flow, it's just sort of standard business.
It's the ebb and flow.
Sometimes a lot of people want to join the service and sometimes they don't. And so there've been some lean years and there've been some strong years, and you just kind of roll with it.
That's amazingly politically correct.
Factors.
Yep. Just walk that line. I love it. No. Hey, sometimes the tide is in, sometimes the tide is out. It's just the way it is.
That's it.
All right. Speaking of just the way it is, that's a show. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Come back next week. We will be back. We'll be talking Xbox Showcase. We'll be talking Game Fest Showcase. Whatever other showcases we can figure out that are being put on. I think PC does one. I'm pretty sure they have a big PC gaming showcase. Devolver usually does one that's actually fairly entertaining, so I'm hoping they have one for this year. But either way, we'll be back next week. We'll talk about all of it. We'll have a good time. In the meantime, go forward. Have a great rest of your weekend. For those of us in the best country of the world, we get to enjoy an extra day of holiday in celebration of those who have fallen to make this the best country in the world. So happy Memorial Day. Remember all of our servicemen and thank our servicemen like Christopher Matthew. Thank you for your service. Jazz hands for the win.
Greg. I'll pass it along. Jazz hands.
All right, that's it. We're out of here. We'll see y'all next week.
Thank you for listening to the Overseas Connection podcast.